three wins really have to do with weight loss. I've lost 20 pounds and
Gosh.
went from, I was kind of a size 6, 8 in pants, and have gone down to a solid 4, sometimes a 2, depending on the store. And, I just really feel like myself again. I was always lucky. I was pretty thin growing up, didn't really have to worry about what I was eating. But as I was getting into my 30s, I was slowly gaining weight and just for years now haven't felt like me and had tried a lot of different things. But with intermittent fasting, it just felt easy and I feel so good about myself again.
Oh, that is fantastic. Okay, so weight loss, you feel more like yourself. Anything else?
Um,
How about any
yeah,
anything that doesn't have to do with weight loss? Any non-scale victories, like with
I
energy or anything
guess,
that you've
yeah,
noticed?
energy level. I think, I guess without eating during the day, I don't get that after lunch slump. I just can
Sure.
feel a solid energy level all day.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so let's talk about what is your main or your like preferred intermittent fasting method or schedule, whether that be like I do primarily OMAD, I do a little bit of a hybrid, but OMAD or 16/8, what works best for you, Laura?
Yeah, so I guess I fall into the OMAD category. Typically like a 20-hour fast,
Okay.
4-hour eating window. It kind of just happened because I'm a teacher. I do work a lot and I'm at
Sure.
school just until, you know, maybe 6 o'clock at night. So it just kind of happened. It would basically be when I got home, then I would start eating, and it kind of typically fell in a 4-hour window.
So about like what time would that be? That so you fast all day while you're at school, which I found was super easy when I was teaching.
Hmm.
Yeah, you're so busy anyways
Yeah.
that it did not even bother me to have my black coffee and my tea and just go about my business and not even worry about lunch. So when you get home, about what time do you break your fast?
I guess it's between maybe like 6:30, 7 o'clock is when I would start eating. And then just, have that last. I
Sure.
love iced tea, so I would be putting stevia in my iced tea during my eating window.
Okay.
So just when that last sip of iced tea I had, or maybe a glass of wine. So, that would typically be around like 10 o'clock at night before getting ready for bed.
Awesome. Do you use a fasting tracker, like to track your fast at all, or an
I
app, or
don't. I'm like a old school, maybe not too old school because it's on my phone, but the
sure.
notes app in my phone, I just have a note for each month and I just label it what week I'm on with my intermittent fasting. I write down my weight for that day and, I calculate my eating window and my fasting window. That's just how I keep track of it.
That's a really great tip, and I think for a lot of people, myself included, I'm not very techy. So
Hmm.
you have to just find what works for you. And I mean, I
Hmm.
have Google Docs up the yin yang. Like I have so many Google Docs, but that's just like my thing. And
Hmm.
I take screenshots to remind myself of maybe a recipe or something like that.
Hmm.
That I
Same.
want to try
Yeah.
and go back. I'm not so good about cleaning them out, but I'm going to work on that.
Hmm.
But I think that's just super important to find, whether it's, a tech savvy thing or whatever, something super simple like you just said in your notes app to figure
Hmm.
out what works best for you. So, so what would you say is your biggest challenge with intermittent fasting?
It's funny. I don't really have a challenge in the actual fasting, but it's when people have asked me about it. I feel like some people can be very judgmental.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
I had a friend, and I was at an event, and I was eating. It was during my eating window, and I do make exceptions. If I'm going to go for brunch with a friend, of course I'm going to eat brunch.
Absolutely.
Um, but it just kind of came up in conversation like, oh, Laura's lost a lot of weight. And I don't really like talking about it, but all eyes were on me. And I started to share about intermittent fasting. And one of my friends, who I consider a good friend, was like, oh, well, of course you're losing weight. You're eating like a toddler. And I was just like,
Oh, I haven't heard that one. I've heard some good ones. That's it. Wow. Okay.
and it felt, yeah, I was so upset. And it does make me not really want to talk about it
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like I am met with judgment from a lot of people. If people ask and I can tell they're genuinely interested, I will start to tell them. And I'm like, I can talk about this all day. Like, if, let me know. I kind of leave
Mm-hmm.
it in their court.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I had the same thing. I mean, I really struggled with the comments for 8, 10 months, probably the first year, and it made me sort of bashful about talking about it to other people. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, these were, like you said, good friends and family members who, well, of course you're going to lose weight. You're starving yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it just got to the point where I backed off until I just kind of let them see that I was actually they could see I was actually eating a lot
Mm-hmm.
and enjoying my life. And, it was something, it's just hard for people, I think, a lot of times to say, oh my gosh. And that's what they always say. Oh my gosh, you go 20 hours without eating. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's mind blowing to people. So,
Mm-hmm.
but all right, so let's talk about your eating and your fasting windows. Let's start with fasting hours. So we know you fast generally in the evening. Oh, I'm sorry, you fast all day
Mm-hmm.
until you open your eating window. So what, like, do you fast clean basically, as far
Yes.
as
Yeah, fast
not
clean.
putting any? Okay, great. So
Mm-hmm.
what drinks, clean drinks, do you enjoy while you're fasting, like at school, at work, whatever?
Mm-hmm. So this might be the crazy part to a lot of people. I really only drink green tea all day.
Oh, that's
That's it.
awesome. Okay.
I'm not a coffee drinker. I have
Okay.
tried many times over the years. I even tried again doing the intermittent fasting, and I just really do not like the taste of coffee at all.
Really?
So, yeah, green tea. I go with decaf green tea. I'm not really sure why, but that's what I do. Every now and again, I think from your tips, I've tried the sparkling water,
Mm-hmm.
and
Not a fan?
yeah, it's
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 okay.
okay, but I
I
think
know.
I'm good with the green tea. So
So the
that's
green
all day.
tea, that is awesome, because not only does it have, you know, tons of amazing benefits, health benefits, and it does help, with weight loss and things like that. But another thing that people don't really realize about green tea is it really helps with freshen your breath. Like, it
Oh,
has
okay.
properties. So, and especially when you're fasting, I don't know if you've gotten kind of like that metallic, like when your body goes into ketosis and all that. I'm not going to go into all the
Hmm.
science of it because I don't totally understand it myself. But if you're, that's one of my big tips for people too, when they say, "Oh, my breath is bad from this fasting," and it happens. Oh, it
Hmm.
has been something I've really struggled with. Green tea is one of the best drinks that you can have to fight against that. So that's really awesome.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
interesting. I've been worried about the breath that I've asked my fiance a few times, and he's like, "No, you're good." So I don't know if that's if that's doing it, but
So, I know this might seem like a silly question too, but do you have the green tea hot?
yes.
Okay,
Hmm.
because I actually, it's really strange. I don't know how I figured this out, but when I was first trying to, kind of experiment with different clean fasting drinks, I put the sparkling mineral water with the green tea and
Oh,
had it
okay.
cold, and it is super duper good. Like, I
Okay. I'm gonna
absolutely
try
love it.
that.
So, yeah, I generally do that, a couple times a week too, during my fasting hour. So, okay, so let's move to the fun part, the eating.
Hmm.
So, what kinds of foods do you, I mean, are you a vegetarian? What types of meals do you enjoy? What do you like eating during your eating